Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Cheap Seats. This is your weekly Premier League show. My name is Paul. I've got Dean, I've got AB. We talk all things happening in the Premier League. This week was a little bit of a slow week because Nottingham Forest didn't fire their coach. They actually gave him an extension, and then they decided to fire the scout
Everyone
and
else.
and everyone else. So it was a little bit weird, but they brought 22 players in, so that's another story. But I think the big story that has Premier League situation or Premier League links to it is the Kylian Mbappe story. So I thought we'd lead with that. But we're also going to talk about Liverpool and how this derby with Manchester City has now become more of a damn squib, from one of the most sought after games in the world to being a, oh Lord, how much are they going to catch type of game? But we're going to talk about that later on. Before we continue, remember the show is sponsored by Classic Shirts ZA. And this week's shirt of the week, to remind you that we're going into the World Cup. We got a team that's hoping to be world champions once more. Brazil's 2022 World Cup kit. The blue one looks like a lizard. But the home one, I like the little, the little collar there, the victory collar for all you golfers, the Tiger Woods-esque collar. And yeah, look, I don't know if the Sellers are going to win the World Cup, but they'll be looking pretty good. Jens, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, is that Jaguar print on the blue one?
Yes.
Is that what it's supposed to be? I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, you can't go wrong with a classic yellow, green trim Brazil kit. Like, it's just, that is the GOAT. So, it'll be interesting.
Look,
it'll be interesting
the
to see
question is-
Richarlison in it. My boy, 'cause now
No.
I can support Brazil.
Well, the question is whether Martinelli or Antony are going to be wearing it. So I think with Brazil's World Cup selections, it's going to probably come down to whether Martinelli or Antony are going to go to the World Cup. So it's going to be dependent on how it happens. Obviously, I don't want the other Gabriel to go our centre back. I think he'd rather just chill on the beach in Dubai. But
I
hey,
hope they
it's the
all
World
go
Cup.
to Brazil.
Do you know what the worst?
worst?
Do you know what the worst thing about this week was, right? Trent got injured in the derby that Arsenal won, top of the log, well done. Woohoo. But the other thing was Reece James also got injured. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, who's going to start at right back for England? And I was like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
Obviously,
Ben
my
White.
boy.
Oh.
That'll be, yeah. He plays well on the right, though, to be fair. So
he's gotten better.
Yeah.
Like at the start of the season, he was so afraid to go around and help Saka like with those little passes around behind him to kind of stretch the defense. But he's look, we're gonna talk about FPL, but look, he's not he's a good FPL thing, and he's pushed Tomiyasu to the left. So that's another story for another day.
Well, guys, it must be so nice to have international players in your team.
Well, you do. Casemiro, you've got Fred, you're benching them, you've
Ronaldo,
got all
the
Mr. 700. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. This week we woke up on Monday or sometime on Monday, we're at work and we found out that Kylian Mbappe told Paris Saint-Germain that actually, I want out. This is 6 months after him signing up to be their general manager. I don't know, player manager type of vibe. And supposedly they didn't promise him, they didn't fulfill the promises that he done. And I'm like, but dude, it's not even 6 months yet. It's like 3. And you're wanting out. So he wants out. So now this is like the Kevin Durant trade in the NBA. When a player like this goes, you now try to figure out how the hell you're going to get him. Doesn't matter who you are, even if you're Kaiser Chiefs, you need to figure out a package for Kylian Mbappe to bring him here to South Africa. But I was thinking, wait, hold up. But the Premier League is the richest league in the world. He's watching Erling Haaland tear it up in this league, and he must be like, ooh, that's another Farmers League. Maybe I should go and join. So my question to you guys is, what do you do? So in the top 6, he can fit anywhere. But which is the most likely club in the top 6 to go to Paris and be like, here's a package for you, Kylian, come over?
I mean, that is United all over.
No.
All over. That is let's get the fans back. Let's do what we need. Mbappe, our boy, he's probably going to come out and say I've supported United since I was young, and become one of their players. But I also heard that there's rumors of like a Salah swap with Liverpool, which maybe, but realistically, for me, I think everyone looks at his PSG situation and goes, I don't want someone like that in my changing room.
But Dean, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Regardless of whether this is a guy, I think he's 24 or 20. I don't know how old he is, like 23. Still a young guy. He may be a prima donna, but he can help you compete in this league with. And so I was sitting there going, wait, there's a dumpster fire team. There's a team that can handle this type of player. And to me, if Todd Bowley isn't in Paris right now, trying to sell Christian Pulisic to PSG, it's a problem. Because here's the thing, right? Mbappe doesn't want to play the number 9. He wants to play the 10, right? So you can have Aubameyang up front. You can have Mbappe in the middle. You can even send Kai Havertz to Paris. That's where dreams go to die. Kai Havertz hasn't done well. Send him to Paris, you know? No, but this makes because Chelsea are in a situation where they're trying to go young. So try to get rid of the oldies. You can even send Thiago Silva back. I'm sure they'd take him. And so for me, like I'd love him at Arsenal, but I don't want to break up, as you say, Dean. I don't want to break up that whole thing that Arteta's gone.
Aubameyang says Arteta can't handle big personalities, so
that's one of the reasons why I don't want him there. But if he ever said I want to go to Arsenal, best believe I am selling my future. Well, I'm giving them Martinelli and I'm bringing Mbappe in with a whole lot of cash. But I look at Chelsea and I'm like, because I look at Man City, I'm like, okay, Man City, they don't need to be too desperate because they've got this guy, this robot.
You've already got one of the 2 next greatest players that we're going to see. So,
but it's for me, AB, it's Chelsea, it's Manchester United, and to a certain extent, if Tottenham could do it, I would do it.
I don't think he doesn't. He won't come to Tottenham. There's been jokes where people have said, "Oh, Mbappe, you want to go to Tottenham?" and he's come out and said, "Thanks, but no thanks." So I don't want a player at my club that is already saying I'm above you before he's probably even knows how to get to the stadium. So if Tottenham make that move, no thanks. But I hear what you're saying. I think the Chelsea move probably makes a whole lot more sense now that you talk about it with the Todd Bowley situation. But I also think Newcastle could be, well, I know a lot of people are saying Newcastle because of the money that they have to sort of splash at someone like that. But whether they will or can, I don't know. I don't think so.
No, but okay. So, AB, if you look at Liverpool, if you look at Mbappe, right? Mbappe needs a place to kind of sit until Real Madrid say, we've got the money to bring you on, right? Wouldn't a Newcastle be a good enough option? Because I know obviously you can't go for the top 6, but Newcastle will pay him his ridiculous wages. Newcastle will make like it would be a waste for a footballing fan, but it would be so great for the Newcastle faithful to have this guy on a rental.
So on a rental, my goodness. What about Barca pulling another lever somewhere? Surely there's a lever.
No. No.
Guys,
there's got to be a lever somewhere.
But
there is a lever.
But AB, why don't you want him at Manchester United? He sells shirts. He's Ballon d'Or. Like literally, you'll have a Ballon d'Or winner. Send Martial.
The problem is that like this is such a Man United target for that board. Like they're just thinking, how are we going to replace Ronaldo? Like, or how are we going to make Ronaldo happy? And this guy's right there. So I can see United going and throwing 100+ mil.
I don't think it's going to be 100. I think it might be 250.
I can see United doing this because the Glazers are the Glazers. They want a star. He's young, so and to fight that Terminator down the road, you know, this guy, he's the closest thing. He's also a Terminator. Yeah. He's like a quick Terminator. He's not a strong Terminator, but he's like the Terminator 3 version but that she was a lady. So I don't know. He's actually
He's a Ninja Turtle. That's what he is. He's a teenage. He's the Ninja Turtle.
It's a weird crossover. But guys, I don't know. Like, there's rumors of him also being able to cancel his contract for free. So I think that could change things if he can get out of his new contract, because there's lawyers getting involved now. Then all bets are off, because then the Liverpool start to put up their hands, and the Real Madrid obviously start to put up their hands. But
do you guys think? But Abi, do you think surely you can put up a better bid than Liverpool?
Contract-wise, yes, but it's United. No one wants to move to United. No one wants to play for you. Like, Kylian Mbappe does not want to play for Man United. If he does, then I need to have a talk with Kylian Mbappe.
Why not?
Guy.
No, but think about it, right? You get Mbappe. It's like the Cristiano moment, right? You get Cristiano, you sell the shirts, everyone's happy for like a month. And then it just
man scores a goal against Newcastle, and then it's the second coming.
Yes.
And 2 goals against Newcastle, and then
yeah. But so
and he has United all over it.
It's a really United move. But guys, I mean, United would have signed then Anthony, Sancho, Ronaldo.
Oh no, you sent Sancho to Paris. No, sorry. Sancho's on we're gonna have fraud watch when the next when the World Cup starts. Sancho's going on fraud watch. Like, quite frankly, you can send Sancho away.
Sancho's going on holiday because he's not going to Qatar. He's not
we know he's not going to Qatar. We're just saying he must go to the other part of Qatar and Paris.
No, guys, I think Real Madrid should just try and send their fancy lawyers over, try and get Mbappe for free, and let him move. Because again,
why don't you guys want Mbappe in the Premier League? Like, I want to see him every week.
I mean, you can see him every
watching
week.
Haaland absolutely destroy every single thing he looks at, and he's not.
I can't afford Mbappe, Salah, and Haaland in a fantasy team. I can't afford. Thank you, Gabby Jesus. I'm so happy. I can't afford Kylian.
Yes, Gabby. But for Liverpool as well, it makes sense.
Liverpool makes sense.
It makes so much sense. Especially after not being able to get Tchouameni in the summer, losing him to Manchester to Real Madrid.
When they've got no money.
Doesn't. FSG will put the money. This is the biggest.
This is a redeeming player, in the
world. This is a player that will take the 14-point deficit that they currently have right now and make it seem like it's Christmas in October. Because I look at Liverpool, I'm like, what else do they have? Like, and to a certain extent, that's where we need to go to the next one. And the next part is, has this derby lost its spark? Because Community Shield Liverpool looked amazing. Yeah. They had City in all sorts. And then now you're like, huh? They're happy to beat Rangers 7. Like, Liverpool fans out here on Twitter stunting on all of us because they scored 7 goals against Rangers. And Mo scored a hat-trick in 9 minutes. And then you're like, but guys, on Sunday, y'all are going to be seeing live.
Yeah.
You know, even the previous Sunday, they were nowhere. So I look at Liverpool, I'm like, I don't know what's going on with them. Well, I kind of have an idea. I think it's the whole, they haven't been able to replenish the squad quick enough with good young talent to kind of bridge the gap, and everyone's now all of a sudden gotten slower, and it's gotten that way. But to me, like, even if we talk about Mbappe, if you get a guy like Mbappe, it turns that fan base 100.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's the same thing. Although we're going to Manchester United, it just gives them. It's more of like, no, don't worry about us. Next season we're back type of vibe. But looking at this game, I'm like, this last season, this was the biggest game in the world after El Clasico. We get it, but like now it's like chalk and cheese. Like, how have they gotten? Like, one team's gotten super good, much better. Another one's gotten really bad, and I don't know what to say about Liverpool. Like, I sit there going, like, guys, like, how do we fix this?
I mean, it's exactly like you say. It's not that long ago that we were talking about Liverpool winning the quadruple. You know, like they were in the running for everything, and they could have done it. They were there or thereabouts, and they've fallen flat. And I mean, they were the best team probably for or their greatest team for probably 3 or 4 seasons, and City just eclipsed them always. So they were always just one step behind being the greatest. And I think what we've seen, we've always said it pretty much at the start of every season when we do like a transfer review, that Liverpool are just 1 or 2 injuries from being terrible. We saw it when Van Dijk got injured and that defense collapsed. They don't have adequate replacements for what they need to. And a lot of people are obviously pointing the finger at some of the easy targets. So Salah's not performing as well as he probably is. Trent's not performing at all, pretty much. But for me, the root cause of Liverpool's problem is that midfield. They've just got absolutely, other than Thiago, I don't think they have anyone that is performing to what they were expected to, but is also rejuvenated or can spark a little bit of anything in that midfield. Like Jordan Henderson is not it. He's just not. He's not it. He hasn't been it for a while, and they don't have anyone off the bench that's quality. Like we've been hearing about Curtis Jones for years. If the man was good enough, he would have come. He's not good enough.
He should be playing at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, Harvey Elliott, the man can play, but he's not Liverpool level. So for me, their biggest problem is honestly that midfield. Fabinho's not performing. Henderson's not performing. And now you can see it. I don't want to call it panic, but for Klopp to play a 4-3-3 for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was, and to now all of a sudden start saying, whoa, maybe I need to try a 4-4-2 or something different. It smells a little bit of like desperation of I need to try something different, which fine, good, he is. But playing a 4-4-2 means you don't have that 3-man midfield. And that again just reduces your stranglehold over the game. So for me, Liverpool are in a world of hurt, especially now with Diaz being out until after the World Cup, means they have to play Jota on the left. I don't think Liverpool fans appreciated how much Mane did for that team. He was as close to irreplaceable as what you can get. And Salah's not performing, and Trent's not doing it. Van Dijk's been shown up. So City can easily go score 5 on what I think it's Saturday or Sunday, whenever the game is. But easy. With Haaland doing what he does, easily. And also, everyone's going to be worried about Haaland, and then that just means Foden's running around the back, Mahrez is running around the back. It's going to be a rampage. And it's, from a Liverpool fan's perspective, it's sad, but it's also not a problem that they can solve quickly, from what I think. It's going to take 1 or 2 transfer windows at least to try and get some of the youth in, get them up to speed.
Or Mbappe in January.
It's the midfield, though. You need a You need a.
That's the guy, but that's the guy. Everyone in Liverpool's like, no, we're waiting for Jude. Similar to this whole Sancho thing, but so the thing is, the difference between Manchester United and Liverpool is like, actually, Manchester United actually try and shoot their shot. Liverpool just sitting and waiting, then open the corner.
Saving money.
Dude, if you want Jude Bellingham, go to Dortmund and say how much. At least let us all know if it's 150, we'll be like, okay, fine, yeah, wait.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, my thing is like Oaks, he's the guy, and Jude Bellingham is not going to go to Liverpool. If the World Cup's going to go the way Jude Bellingham is playing in the Champions League, Barcelona's going to pull another lever, and
Haaland just says, Haaland says, "Bro, you want to just come and do what we did at Dortmund? Just
If Jude Bellingham goes to Manchester City,
football's dead.
We are going to stop this podcast, and we're going to change this podcast to being True Blue or Blue Moon, whatever they call themselves.
We're just going to be like, okay, guys, we're now playing for second. Whoever is going to be second, let's go for that, because
we won't be cheap seats. We'll be empty seats at the Etihad.
Yeah. I still want to fill the stadium, guys.
With that dude. But here's the thing, right?
Let's say they don't get Bellingham, right? Honestly, and I was thinking, who could they go and get? Liverpool. If I'm Liverpool and you need now to refresh that midfield, obviously Thiago can play that. You leave Thiago there, but then you start looking at like who can cover for Fabinho. And for me, it would be a good purchase, might be a long-term purchase, but that Caicedo from Brighton as DM for Liverpool could do wonders and actually be able to cover properly. He looks pretty decent from what I can see. He's young, he's promising, got some Premier League experience. But then also, if they need some creativity, James Maddison is also looking like he can go at any point. Leicester's not going to hold on to that, man.
Bro, they've got Ndidi and Matters doing nothing.
Well, Ndidi's injured half the time.
Yeah.
So
no, but the other player for me is Frankie. If Frankie wants to leave Barcelona, the Frankie de Jong's an easy, and that's what I was surprised by them not wanting to do that, because that's what a new signing does. A new signing breathes new life. It like makes guys think. Like, I look at the City team and to a certain extent the Community Shield is what it was, but like Haaland's made these guys feel invincible. You know, it's like I know they drew against Copenhagen, but I was surprised. I'm like, Pep like rested Haaland, and they look. It's Superman and Peter. I don't know whatever Superman's ultra ego is, the guy with the glasses. It's Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Simple, yes. Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Good one.
Yes. You know, they obviously they got the red card, but that City team on its own, even with 10 men, should beat Copenhagen in Denmark, and it didn't. And then you look at what it does when Haaland is there, and the amount of like I look at this Liverpool and I'm like, how are you guys going to beat them this time? Like, obviously with Darwin Nunez, you kind of have a bit of an X factor, but that robot is something else.
Is Darwin a good player?
I think he is. I think as a goal scorer, I think he's good. Like, if you put him on any of our teams, he
would score.
He's scoring goals.
He can score.
He can score.
Spurs, though.
He would.
Hey, at Spurs.
No,
he doesn't score.
What do you mean? Look, Spurs is a similar situation with Liverpool. I think that whole midfield. I think Conte's got a little weird.
Let's leave Spurs alone. Don't worry.
No, but
we fine.
But if you paired Nunes up with Kane and Kulusevski on either side of them, and not Kane, Son and Kulusevski on either side of them, I think he'd score bucket loads of goals.
But again, the thing is, I don't think it's a problem of scoring goals. I think there's no doubt Salah can score goals, Jota can score goals, Firmino can score goals. But when you're not getting the ball to the guys that you need to score goals, it's just not going to happen. And that's the whole problem. Like, you look at how they played against Arsenal. They were that midfield was nowhere. I mean, the defense was a shambles because they're just running rampant. But Martinelli, Saka were making runs in behind players. Like, they didn't even have to think twice. They were like, oh, there's space, let's go. Like,
guys,
it was
Sancho scored against Liverpool. Sancho, that guy.
I think Sancho scored against us.
No. My bad.
Yeah,
he scored against both of you guys. The whole thing.
Yeah, so because my thing was with this fixture, because obviously when the fixtures came out, you're looking at this, you saw Haaland, you're like, oh, this is the one. And it technically was funny because City was supposed to play Arsenal midweek after this. There's another round of fixtures coming up next week, and obviously because the Queen died, we now have to play our Europa League fixture in that week, next week. So it like this season's always had like all the top six have had to play 2 back-to-back against their nearest rivals, which has been a really nice test. And Liverpool have just obviously failed against Manchester United. They got a break. They failed against Arsenal. Now they're looking at a fail. How do they not make it? How do they stop? How do they set themselves up not to lose? Do they go 4-4-2? Do they go 3-5-2? Because I know last week Spurs were so happy that they went to a 3-5-2 and Bissouma played, and everyone was like jumping up and down. Is that an option for Liverpool right now?
I think a 3-5-2 could probably work, but then you look at who you're going to put there. Like, again, Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, or who else is going to play in that midfield that you say can stop the midfield of City? I don't think with the injuries that they got, Trent can't defend, and Trent's injured anyway, so let's forget about him.
No, Joe Gomez did a good job in that second half.
Joe Gomez did. He played pretty well, so you play Joe Gomez there. You look at Konate, and he's solid at times, but that guy's also error prone.
Yeah. He was better last night. But again,
he was better.
It's Rangers.
Again, it's Rangers.
It's Rangers.
Then you're playing Tzatziki or whatever, the guy on the left, and you don't have faith with the guys. That's my problem. Klopp can try like 9-1 formation, and I think City will still run rampant. So I don't know how they're going to try and block. They're going to have to play the low block, which is not Liverpool's way of playing either, which is also a problem. They're not used to hanging back.
Can't you trust the pace of Konate or even Van Dijk on a guy like Haaland? Because when I look at it, I'm like, okay, fine. If Arsenal was playing City next week, I'd be telling Saliba that we're not playing the high line. You are following this cyborg wherever he goes. Just put a body on him, it's fine, and you man mark him. Van Dijk's the guy for me who can do that. But I feel as though Liverpool's more comfortable, even against Arsenal, because they were playing on 4-4, which was great, but they're still playing the highest line. So I was like, it's like what are we trying to do here? You know, I'd rather than play the 4-3-3 with a high line and actually have more attackers.
I think Liverpool will be stronger without Trent, honestly. Like, he just gets exposed too many times, and now with Joe Gomez, who's more of a centre back than a right back.
I think in terms of defending, fine. I think Liverpool are better defending without Trent, but you also can't negate the fact that Trent can put in a ball.
Really can.
Trent can deliver.
Oh.
So
without that,
even that goal they scored, like it was a mishit, and it started something.
So without Trent and Robertson, they are very much lacking in that wide areas. Now without Diaz on the left, you are even more lacking on your wide areas. So fine, Jota can play on the left, but it means that Liverpool lack that width that they use so well between their full backs and their front three that they can utilize. That is their identity. So now they are trying to find a whole new identity against the best team in the league this season. And you just go, please, like, it's going to become damage limitation, I think, from minute one, pretty much.
Yeah, look, if I told you at the start of the season that in this little 2-week period that Liverpool would come out with potentially 0 points out of a game at Arsenal and at Manchester City, look, you'd be a rich man if you bet that, but like it's unbelievable how far they've fallen. From a Manchester City situation, is this a Jack Grealish redemption game for him? Because I look at how team set up. We saw Jack against Manchester United. He didn't get the assist, but he did show a run at them. And do you think that he'll have enough though? Because obviously when you have a guy like Haaland and De Bruyne, you got to probably try and put 2 guys on both of them, which leaves space for everyone else. Foden and Jack Grealish. And is this Jack's moment to shine to book his place on the plane?
I don't think tomorrow. Well, when is it? Saturday, Sunday. I think Grealish will have. He's actually out of the spotlight right now because everyone is doing well at City, so he can take his time. He can find his feet. I still think Southgate values him and what he does on an international stage, for whatever reason. But I think no one's talking about Grealish. Like literally, I have not thought about Jack Grealish until you brought him up. No one cares anymore, right? He's not this 90 million pound player who's just signed. He's got nothing to prove. He won a Premier League, so he's fine.
But also, I think from Pep's perspective, I mean, it was Liverpool City rivalry for the past 3 or 4 seasons, right? He now knows that he'll play his best 11, which I don't think includes Jack Grealish, but I think he wants to prove a point. He wants to absolutely like strangle them and show them like, you guys were it for a few years. We are it, and we are the best team in England. And I think he's going to go absolutely, he's going to choose the best 11. That's why he rested Haaland against Copenhagen. They were 0-0 red card and he still didn't win. Fine, he brought Foden on for the last 10 minutes, but I think he's been resting the players because he wants to go out and prove point against Liverpool, because that's the way I would think if I was Pep. Like that those were your rivals. It then sends an even bigger message to Arsenal, who are looking like the only team that can probably compete with them, which hurts me to say. But,
I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, you don't know what to do as any opposition team. But I think he's going to prove a point. He's going to say, I'm going to go and I'm going to score 5 against Liverpool. I'm going to absolutely rip them rampant. And now the rest of the world must watch out, because it's not just the league, it's Champions League, it's everything that I'm going for. So I think if they start leading 4-5-0, fine, Jack Grealish comes on waves his hair a little bit and maybe adds, but I think he plays top 11, best 11, and absolutely goes hammer time from the first whistle. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah, the only question I can ask you is how's it going to end? How many goals City are going to score?
I think it is. I think it's 4-0 City, honestly.
Yeah, I think they'll get 5. I think
5.
Yeah, 5.
Are you just saying 5 because your deficit was 3? You won the second half.
No, but remember that was just the first set, Paul.
Can't wait for the second set. Look, guys, I don't know. I might actually put money on a draw, but this is me. This is me being a betting man trying to win a house off of Liverpool's misfortune or off of City's misfortune. I need someone to stop City. I need a gap. If United can't do it, I don't know if Spurs have played them.
No, we haven't. But
look,
yes,
Liverpool
even when Spurs plays them, I'm going to be supporting Tottenham, just trying to get a gap between us.
Liverpool cannot beat City, but Mo Salah can beat City. And if Mo decides that he's going to be Mo, then anything can happen.
So I'm going to sit. I don't think. I think this might be the day where Haaland doesn't score a hat trick. But I do think it might just end up being like I'll sit at 3-0. I'll sit at 3. I'm leaning towards 2, but I do think that Liverpool live for big games like this. And against Arsenal, they did. They had moments where they had possession and they were threatening and yes, they can't defend to save their lives. But you could say some Liverpool fans are like, no, that penalty was lucky. It was softish. It was very lucky. And similar to Tottenham fans who think that Arsenal's winning on penalties.
Let's not talk about how lucky Arsenal was.
Exactly.
That's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah. So outside of that, I think for me that's where it's going to be. But one other guy I want to talk about is Harry Potter. Who got a glow up. That's Graham Potter, the coach of Chelsea. They're playing really nicely. Aubameyang scoring goals now. They look a different side to the Chelsea of Antonio Conte. What's different? It doesn't look too different to Conte. They play 3 at the back. Obviously the personnel's tweaked a little bit, but it's largely the same. Is it just a new manager bounce and will it slow down by November?
Yeah.
I think though, for me, I mean, probably is, but I think Potter. Look, and it's not like I can be in a position to comment on it, but it feels like Potter's a better manager than what Chelsea may have had in the past. And I think there's a couple new characters in that dressing room, like Sterling, Aubameyang, a couple of those like sort of big names. Koulibaly's walked in. He's got Cucurella, who at least he knows from Brighton. But I think he's managing a little bit better. He looks calm. He looks like he's got a plan. He's trying to get the players into it. And I think some of the players have taken quite well to him, just because I think Tuchel might have been a little bit stern and like hectic continuously and shouting and whatever. I think Potter's sort of that calming presence which they're missing, and some of they're clearly taking to it. And you saw on the weekend, I mean, he rotated James and Chilwell. He's getting through that squad, trying to see who he can play, and putting some trust in the younger guys. He's already come out and said he really likes Gallagher. So probably going to get some more game time, some of the younger guys, which Chelsea really, I mean, they have a wealth of talent in their youth. So I think he's really taken well to the role. And I mean, good for him. I think he's a great coach. I don't think any one of us can say that he's not a good coach. So good for them. I still hope they crash and burn. But I mean, it is what it is. Good luck. I do like Potter though. He's a good guy. He looks like a cool guy.
With
the haircut, not without the Chelsea Potter is way better than Brighton Potter. Looks like a way cooler guy.
It's a glow up, He's now made it to Hollywood. Look, I think for me, we'll see on November 6th. I think when they play Arsenal, it's going to be quite intriguing to see how Aubameyang's revenge game comes together. I'm going to talk about that a lot in the coming weeks. I'm happy Conor Gallagher's getting opportunity. I think Chelsea have been a side that never gave youngsters a chance unless if you balled out in the loan market, and he did, and he deserves a chance. I like Mason Mount. I like where Mason Mount is playing right now. And look, if Albert scores goals, I'm a fan. Not against me. I like the guy, but yeah, he stunk up the joint for us for the last year and a half. So don't pay him money and he'll score for you. Pay him money and he won't score. But that's the end of it all. AB, good luck against Newcastle. Hopefully Bruno Guimaraes is not going to come out and score against you. And the Dean, I think
we got Everton.
Everton yes, Frankie, the best defense in the league. Best defense in the league.
United scored 3 goals against them.
Yes, I still think they're the best defense in the league, the least amount. Those guys had a run of clean sheets that put Connor Cody and Tarkovsky at the top of FPL. So yeah, but yeah, so that brings us to the end of our show. Remember, we have an FPL show as well, so please do look out for that. It's gonna be pretty cool. Outside of that, goodbye, good night, and lesale kakahiso.